I'm Steve Kendall, and the Y was my second home for many years. From the time I was 8 years old, I learned how to swim. I learned how to be a leader through a leaders club. I had jobs at the Y. I worked as a junior counselor at the day camp that was at the Y. And eventually I became a counselor at Chickamy, and I directed Chickamy for 2.5 summers. So Chickamy was my second home. The Y was my second home from age 8 to age 24.
My name is Doug Alden, and I started with always. I think I was a Y member, but then my mother sent a lot of us to Camp Chickamy. I think she believed in what camp had to offer, so I was here. I think started probably at 8 years old, and I'm just one of those people that went all the way up through the ranks. I became counselor in training, junior counselor, and then a counselor, and I really cherish my days.
The first thing my wife and I did when we knew we were going to make a meaningful gift to Chickamy was talk to a tax accountant, and he gave us some clear tips. And they were very straightforward, very simple, easy to follow on how we could do it in a tax advantaged way. And the best way it turned out for us to do it was to get a little bit creative in the methods that we would give. And we think many people can do these things and may not just be aware that they exist. So, for example, for a couple of the 5 years that we've paid off our obligation to Chickamy, this gift that we've given, we gave appreciated stock. And by giving appreciated stock to the Y, the stock directly to the Y, we were able to get a great tax benefit. And then for 3 other years, the remaining 5 years on our gift, we've been using our required minimum distributions from our IRAs. And by doing that, we've also got another large tax benefit. And I thought about it 5 years ago when this all began and said, we're going to get a benefit that is going to be a fairly significant one. And maybe what we can do is just up the ante on our gift, add the tax benefit that we would accrue to the gift itself to make the gift even larger. And so that's what we decided to do. And I think if others think about it, it's kind of a pain-free way of being very generous.
I didn't think about giving a large gift until I saw what Steve has done, and the light bulb went over my head. And then it became clear to me that in my living will and trust, it was easy for me to donate a piece of property that would go specifically to the YMCA, specifically to Camp Chickamy, specifically to a capital improvement. So I did that. And of course, there's a tax benefit of that, of giving a gift like that when I'm no longer here. And when I did that, everyone kept coming up to me and saying, "Oh my God, Doug, that's so generous and that's so nice of you." And they go on and on. And I just looked at them and I say, "No," I said, "I'm going to be dead. It doesn't really matter." I said, so I want to talk to people out there that maybe don't have a lot of resources and maybe at this time, but in our living trust and our wills, there might be some resources or assets you have that you can donate to the YMCA, and particularly for Camp Chickamy, for capital improvement. And when you do that, you still use those assets while you're living. And then when you pass, then Camp Chickamy has them. And then they can do some really good things for our children.
I think what Doug has decided to do for Chickamy is extremely important and extremely smart. I think it's very easy for many people to say, especially during a capital campaign, I can give a little, but I really can't give a lot. I feel badly about that. We hear that a lot, and we did hear that during the Chickamy campaign recently. But I'm not sure that all of my Chickamy friends realize that maybe there is a way for them to give exactly the way Doug did. Certainly, you can give now, but it may feel a lot more comfortable to simply leave Chickamy in your will. And that may be a lot easier for many people to do.
Yep. So as we're talking today about giving now versus giving later, the process was really easy for me. So the later was putting in my living wills and trusts, working with people at the YMCA. It was extremely easy. It was extremely easy to document, and they made it really easy. And so I invite people out there to really consider putting maybe some of their assets in their trusts and wills, so that our children can benefit from it.